Hello and welcome to Hixxy Studio. In this video I'm going to show you how to make this card using the tea bag folding collection dies by Jamie Rogers, sorry. And this one is the Octagons die. In the set you get two different sizes. This one is almost 4-inch square. This is about 2.5-inch square. So if you're using like pattern papers, if you've got 12 by 12s, you'll get 9 octagons out of one piece of paper, and probably about 16 of the small ones out of a 12 by 12 piece of paper. So we are only going to use the larger one for this particular card. In terms of the folds, the way to fold the pieces of paper, the packaging has these not suggestions, they have some instructions. This is the basic fold, and folds 2, 3 and 4 have little variations on those, but there are a whole host of other tea bag folds that are out there. If you go online and Google, I got mine from Handcrafted Greetings, I think. Just let me check, it's on the bottom of the piece of paper. Yeah, Handcrafted Greetings, and she has loads on there, including a couple that are specific for octagons, but this one isn't. This one is originally designed for a square tile, but we can adapt it. Pretty much anything you can do with a square, you can do with an octagon with a little bit of thought. My suggestion would be to cut a load out of a copy of paper before you start with your good papers. Now I've cut my 12 by 12 here. I'm going to turn it around so I've got the tape on that bit there. If you cut a 12 by 12 into 4-inch squares like I've done, then say you'll get 9. And I'm going to that way. And paper isn't paper. I was about to say paper isn't paper, which is a stupid comment. Not all paper is the same, is what I'm trying to say. You get a different weights, just like you do with cardstocks. You get different weights of paper, and the lighter weight, the thinner papers are better because they are easier to do multiple folds on. So I've cut 4 layers there with the die, no problem. And there you go. Now, not only do they cut, they give you score lines, which are great, but for some of them you won't need those score lines, but they don't get in the way, so they are absolutely fine. Now, as I said to you, I tend to play around with copy of paper first, and I found that there are 2 ways that you can end up with, depending on which way you start your fold. So it's all, like I said, it's always worth playing. I prefer this way. It has a much more interesting edge than this one. And the only difference is that very first fold. So on this one, I folded it in half that way. And on this one, I folded it in half that way. Okay. And that's the rest of the folding is the same. It was just the very first fold that dictated the end result. And I think that this one looks a lot nicer. Well, just different. So this is called the zigzag fold, and we're going to start by, I'm going to do it 4 times, so I'll do each step 4 times so that you can see. So we're going to start by folding there. Now this is not too light. This is a nice weight paper, but I could feel the score line there, which really helped. You can feel it sort of just fits into that score. So folding it in half, I'm not really paying much attention to where the lines on my paper are. You can do if you've got a specific pattern. But it will, even though you've done all these folds, it still will be the all coloured that you will see. You won't see any of the bits. Okay, so that's where I'll just open that bit. That's where we're at now. Okay, this is the way I want it to be. The next piece to fold is this piece here. We're going to fold across. So from this this point here, we're going to fold. Is that right? I feel that's not right. No, we're not. We're going to, I'll tell you what, I thought we were folding from the point. We're not. This point, we need to fold to the middle, okay, along that line. I'm going to do it this way because I find it easier. Now, if you can see where your score line is, you'll be able to see the middle point. So you're going to fold it there. Okay, and you're going to crease. See, that's why I always think it's a good idea to have that as a reference, because I've done this loads of times, and every time there's a little bit that I think, oh, is that what I did? Not what I did. So I'm taking this corner to the midpoint, keeping those lines next to each other. So at this point to the midpoint, folding along that line. Okay, right. So the next bit is to bring this line to this line. Okay, like so. Okay. I'll say this line's an edge, really, isn't it? So this edge, you bring it to this edge. Always, always burnish your folds. So this edge to this edge. I mean, it's called a zigzag fold because it's exactly what you get. You get this zigzagging of the paper. The last time, this edge comes to this edge. Like so. Right, so we're all at that. We're all at this point now. Okay. Now, what we need to do is we need to, I always turn it over at this point. So we're there. I always turn it over, and you want to bring that edge alongside that edge, like there. So that there. Okay. So I'll show you here. So this to here. Okay, like that. So turn it over. You've got that bit here. Turn it over. You're going to bring this one to here. And it's when you start doing folds like this that you realise having thinner paper is really a bonus. So from here to here. And one more. Over. This is going to go from there to there. Okay, that's where we're at. And there's just one more bit to do, and that's to create this little bit in here. Now, the way to do that is to start by folding this over. Now, your aim is to try to get this part here and this part here roughly parallel. Doesn't matter if it's not particularly, but it gives you see that is not, let me hold it there. That is not what you want because that line is not parallel there. So as long as it's roughly parallel, that's all we want. So we're just going to fold that down for now. Fold that down. We're looking at this edge here being parallel to this edge here. And the last one. Like so. Okay. So our last step is to open this top little bit up and then push that bit in. Now, sometimes, and we might need to do this because my paper's reasonably thick, sometimes you might just want to fold it back that way as well, like that. So you folded it both ways. Then open this up and then push it in like so. And then give it a bit of a burnish. Okay, so fold the flap back, get on that same crease line, bring it back forward, open up the top, and push that. Whoop, this one's not wanting to play. And push that in. Close it up and burnish that fold. fold it back to reinforce that crease line, open up the top and push that in. And last one. And there. We go. So we now have our pieces, 4 there and 4 that I've done before. Now, the other thing, a couple of other things that I would sort of say to do. Once you've made them in your paper, you will be able to see how big your end product is going to be, because you know that's 4-inch square. I mean, it makes a medallion that is a lot bigger. So always have a go before to know, so you know how big your card is going to end up being. Most most tiles, when they're folded, interlock in some way, as in one tucks into the other, so that it fits together. This one doesn't. This one literally sits like this. So you could just, I mean, you could do this with anyone, but I was playing around with this one. You could just have 4. You could just have 6. Or like I've done, you put on the full 8. Yeah. Okay, so that's, we're going to go for the full 8, but I'm just sort of showing you that you don't necessarily have to A, have them in a medallion shape, and B, use all of the 8 or however many you're told you need. Just play with it, have a little bit of fun. So what I am now going to do, my circle's not quite stuck, is I am just going to fiddle around just so that I've roughly got an idea of where the centre is. And I'm going to put a little mark there to make sure that I'm happy with my placement. So I'm just going to put a little mark in there so I know kind of where the centre of my medallion is. And I'm not going to stick, sometimes when I'm fixing them together I'll stick certain bits down, but with these I'm not going to stick anything down, because I like the dimension that it gives. And it will still fold flat. It will go down flat into an envelope, unless you stuck a great big button in the middle like I have. But it will fold flat. So I'm going to use 3D glue gel, because I know that I'm not going to get these lined up straight first time. So I want some wiggle room in order to be able to do this. So I'm going to do those first. See, I'm able to move them because I'm using the 3D glue gel and not an adhesive that kind of grabs and sticks straight away. Now I've also put one at the top. You don't necessarily need to do that. I kind of like, if something's going to be sort of symmetrical-ish, I like it to be symmetrical. If that makes sense. Probably doesn't, but you know, how anything can be symmetrical-ish, I don't know. So you can see that it's fitting together nicely. I could perhaps have had a bit of a think about, you know, the placement of the green bits, but it's all right. She says, yeah, we'll go with it. I quite like using these kind of, not random print papers, but they're kind of multi-print papers, and then when you fold them you get some quite interesting effects. So there we have our medallion, and let's say you can fiddle around. With the best will in the world, you're not going to get a perfect point in the middle, so it can always be covered with something. And because I feel blah blah blah, I feel this is more of a masculine sort of coloured card, and I'm going to use a button as opposed to anything really blingy. And I should That's talking. I should have put the glue on there and not on the button. And I've got a very, very wet gluey button. The other thing I've done, this is just from Julie Hickey Designs Everyday Sentiments. I've just got a little happy birthday there to sit on our card, just like so. Okay, so there you have our little medallion card using the Octagon tea bag folding collection from Jamie Rogers and a fold called Zigzag. Thank you for joining me.